And so all these little woke cupcakes on the other side who do their stuff, they're going to get crushed legally, politically, and financially. We are going to crush you after January 20th, 2025.
In this video, Sam Seder and Emma Vigeland react to a clip from Benny Johnson's channel. Sam Seder goes on a rant and mocks Benny Johnson throughout the clip, but has no real point per usual. With that, let's watch Benny Johnson trigger Sam Seder into a delusional rant.
3 Project thing is a judicial group, I think, that's meant to do like conservative activism as it relates to the judiciary.
They're like, yeah, like
it's the lawfare.
Yeah, like an interest group to confirm conservative judges.
Right. And they're twisting it into like, you see how Donald Trump is being attacked by the use of laws when he breaks them. We're going to do the same thing. Here is Mike Davis on with Benny Johnson.
So all across my social media feeds, there are people saying that they will be voting for Donald Trump. They never wanted to vote for Donald Trump. They don't like Donald Trump.
Pause it for a second. This Benny Johnson, who would be on all of his social media feeds? Can we get a list of who he follows?
He loves to follow.
To get a notion if he's got the pulse of the nation on his social media feeds.
Isn't that so funny too? Because conservatives are always accusing liberals of being in their Brooklyn, or their Los Angeles liberal bubbles, but this is exactly how they do their.
This is like when the guy was like, I went to a coffee shop and I heard everyone saying that they're actually really into Trump.
At least a coffee shop theoretically could have people in there who are not, like you're not selecting.
Algorithmically
right? Like
tailored to you.
I've found like everybody on Instagram is talking about apples.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like everywhere, like I look, it's like everybody's talking about apples on Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah. And the
Wow.
Carpentry.
And the new rising
I'll tell you something. Seriously, everyone, and I will say this definitively, not everyone, but the vast majority of people that I talk to about sports are like, the Celtics are great.
Yeah.
It's crazy what's going on in this country right now. Go ahead.
So all across my social media feeds, there are people saying that they will be voting for Donald Trump. They never wanted to vote for Donald Trump. They don't like Donald Trump. They never voted for Donald Trump before. And now they're voting for Trump to stop Marxism and to stop communism in this country.
Well, pause it for 1 second, too. I want everybody to know that, like, every one of these people who are like, the Celtics are the best, think the Mavs are horrible, too.
That's crazy.
Was the communism and Marxism not apparent until Trump got busted for 30?
No, it's over the edge now.
All the dudes, seriously, all the people who say like they want the Celtics in my social media feeds.
These two are just the best, aren't they? So Sam Seder makes a joke, which that's all he's done so far in what we've watched. Hasn't really made any points, but he makes a joke that, oh, you're upset because they're using laws against Donald Trump when he breaks laws? Really, Sam? 88 felony counts. They weren't frivolous. A man who'd never been in trouble with the law in his entire life. How about when Fani Willis campaigned on, quote-unquote, getting Trump? How about when Alvin Bragg elevated a misdemeanor to a felony in the hush money case? Just for the sole purpose of also, quote-unquote, getting Trump. These lawfare tactics were absolutely a contributor to Donald Trump winning the election. Because as Benny Johnson is trying to say in this interview that they keep cutting him off, people who didn't even like Trump or people who didn't care about voting even saw that something fishy was going on. And they said, if the system is out to get this guy that bad, then he must be doing something right. So I think the whole lawfare against Trump, I mean, remember how viral his mugshot went? So I think all of it absolutely backfired on the Democrats. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
Like the Mavs are communists.
It actually wasn't even a jury, it was a Soviet.
Yeah.
For Donald Trump. They never wanted to vote for Donald Trump. They don't like Donald Trump. They never voted for Donald Trump before. And now they're voting for Trump to stop Marxism and to stop communism in this country. Now the Trump vote has become a protest vote.
Marxism
against a
much worse when the Mavericks won their conference.
This is the worst possible result And this is why I think, Mike, you haven't seen the kind of squeeing, psychosexual, orgasmic joy from the left. There's something that's been strangely missing from my timeline, which is what I thought would be the cringe cavalry of people celebrating this. That hasn't I think there's like a clear-eyed, sober moment right now where Democrats realize, at least the sober ones, realize what they've done.
Pause it for 1 second.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's so easy to find like some of the contrarians going like, I can't believe how Democrats are celebrating this.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, which is it? Maybe it's just his social media feed.
I mean, what are they talking about? You'd think if the shoe wasn't on the other foot, they wouldn't be literally jumping for joy.
I mean,
Hillary.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, and I don't know what he's talking about here. This was like literally Christmas for liberal moms and
I
dads.
saw so many people. Yeah.
MSNBC. I mean,
I was in a parent-teacher conference, and I was told by the teacher, like, Sam, if you need to take 5 minutes, if we all need to take 5 minutes, as the verdict was coming down. And I was like, what? Go ahead.
Of people celebrating this, that hasn't. I think there's like a clear-eyed, sober moment right now where Democrats realize, at least the sober ones, realize what they've done.
Yeah, President Biden and his aides and allies have executed a terrorist attack against our American legal system. And they're like the Hamas people cheering after the terrorist attack, and they don't understand how much.
Can I, okay. First off, he's saying they're like the Hamas people cheering, but Benny Johnson has just said they're not cheering. But okay, we'll put that aside.
Yeah.
Can we just comment for a moment? Put this up, the screen up.
Okay.
I mean, you know what they need to do is get Matt Leck on the on their OBS.
Get it.
It's unbelievable. And take him seriously when he's like,
This is like me when Matt's off.
exactly.
If you like watching videos like this one, like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Let's get back to the video.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Maybe
His aides and allies have executed a terrorist attack against our American legal system. And they're like the Hamas people cheering after the terrorist attack, and they don't understand how much they have poked the bear. They are going to get annihilated in this next election. On November 5th, 2024, President Biden is going to get chased out of the White House, and all of his aides and allies are going to get chased out of the White House. And that's when the real reckoning begins on January 20th, 2025. I don't think that President Biden and his people understand how much they have outraged, enraged, red-pilled a lot of these Republicans were the biggest cowards on the planet, these country club Republican types. These country club Republican types, after Biden's Hiroshima yesterday on the legal system, they have parked their
Pause it for 1 second.
Mercedes.
I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, like, because Benny Johnson has a very weird expression on his face. And all I'm thinking is he's looking at this guy going like, why is he sweating so much?
I was going to say, is
like,
face like a honey
where
ham?
is it? Like, what? Why? Like,
or why is he contradicting my entire damn premise, which was that liberals were actually turning over? I mean, he's saying both there, that they're getting red pilled, but also saying that they're hysterical and that they don't know what they've done to this country. Just pick a lane.
He's supposed to be the expert too. He's talking about poking the bear, just like
oh my god, we hear this from conservatives all the time.
All right, go ahead.
It looks like
Birds on the planet, these country club Republican types, these country club Republican types, after Biden's Hiroshima yesterday on the legal system, they have parked their Mercedes and they've put away their golf clubs and they've gotten out their machetes. I mean, they are. I've never seen so many rich old white men outraged. And there's nothing more.
Are they outraged or are they not?
No. Benny Johnson's saying the Democrats are outraged.
Okay.
But the real question is, these old white guys at the country clubs who's got the golf clubs in the trunk, do they also have machetes in the trunk?
No, they have
Yeah, Benny Johnson mentioned Marxism there, and of course Sam Seder and Emma Vigeland laughed and laughed, but using lawfare against your political opponents is literally one of the defining characteristics of an authoritarian regime. So I don't think it's a crazy label to throw Marxism on the way they went after Donald Trump. And I have a question for you guys. Let us know what you think in the comments, because I don't know if I agree with Benny Johnson and his guest that at the height of all this lawfare, if the Democrats had quote unquote realized what they had done, I think they were all pretty jazzed about it. I don't think they ever realized how bad they had effed themselves, but they at least got a little hint of it when Trump's mugshot went viral and it was all over T-shirts and stuff like that. I think that Trump mugshot moment in time is kind of when those folks like Benny Johnson was talking about started being like, you know, like I said, if they're going after Trump this bad over this frivolous of stuff, then he must be doing something right to tick off the establishment. And how about his guest, who obviously can't articulate himself very well, but he said that the Democrats will get annihilated in this next election. I'd say this guy is modern-day Nostradamus. And Sam Seder and Emma Vigeland are sitting there laughing away at poking the bear. Now you have tens of thousands of media folks, politicians, public officials begging Biden to pardon them. So if they didn't realize it before, I think they realize it now that they poked the bear, regardless of what Trump does as far as going after some of these slime balls that actually did commit crimes. And regardless of whether he goes after them or not, this clip aged so poorly for Sam Seder and so well for Benny Johnson and his guest. Democrats are freaking shaking in their boots like I've never seen in my lifetime right now. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
Hiroshima.
But I don't understand Hiroshima. But what? But I don't understand. Like, why? When you mix like these
Whitey's
guys
are
are
mad.
like they don't actually have machetes. I mean, wouldn't the thing to be say like now instead of like trying to tee off on the first tee, they're taking these clubs and they're ready to use them on people. Or
Why are they
something.
attacking white men?
Their core demographic.
They've put away their golf clubs and they've gotten out their machetes. I mean, they are.
Maraschino cherries.
I've never seen so many rich old white men outraged. And there's nothing more dangerous than rich old white men who are angry because they have the resources and they have the ability to actually do something about it. And so all these little woke cupcakes on the other side who do their stuff, they're going to get crushed legally, politically, and financially. We are going to crush you after January 20th, 2025, after what you've done. And it's so much bigger than President Trump. President Trump just said this, and he's spot on. This is so much bigger than Donald Trump. This is so much bigger than one campaign. This is so much bigger than one presidency. They have destroyed our legal system because they are so deranged. Their Trump derangement, they cannot control their Trump derangement. They're like Hamas people who can't control their hatred of Jews. They can't control their Trump derangement. And so they let their Trump derangement lead us to this legal Hiroshima. And they're going to pay a price for this. They're going to pay a price. We already saw.
He really does think it's Hiroshima.
Know, yeah.
I mean, the first
Kokomo.
time, okay, the guy's saying marchettes too, but he said Hiroshima twice now.
Folks, do you know how bad it has to be when Sam is chastising you for your pronunciation of certain words or, you know, especially in another language? I mean,
Hiroshima.
yeah, he should probably know that one.
Good.
Aruba, Jamaica.
That's what I was thinking.
Of Jews. They can't control their Trump derangement. And so they let their Trump derangement lead us to this legal Hiroshima. And they're going to pay a price for this. They're going to pay a price. We already saw with Senator J.D. Vance from Ohio. He's done a criminal referral to the Justice Department. Merrick Garland, that little sniffling punk, won't do anything about it. But guess what? When Trump is back in office on January 20th, 2025, there will be a criminal probe opened on this criminal conspiracy by President Biden, by Merrick Garland, by Jack Smith, by Jay Bratz, by Matthew Colangelo, Tish James, Fannie Willis, Alvin Bragg, Juan Merchan, Lauren Michon, people on the outside of this lawfare too, like Andrew Weissman and the lawfare crew. You will all be, at a minimum, key fact witnesses that we're going to have to get discovery from in this criminal probe. So save your documents, guys. There is absolutely going to be retribution.
So I'm curious about, there's been some rumblings about where the donations to Donald Trump's campaign are going in terms of his legal fight. What is this group's involvement with Trump's legal defense is my question.
I would imagine not much, although I would imagine they're also fundraising off of it.
Yeah.
It's all a scam. I mean, the idea of them going after, this idea of investigating the investigators, there's something to it. It would be an interesting thing to watch. Maybe they should hire, who would be great at this? No. There was a former U.S. Attorney General. I think he was in the department out of Connecticut. I think it was Durham was his name. Was it John Durham?
Right.
And in fact, he actually had some special prosecutor experience. Maybe he could do this again, investigate the investigators. And after 3 years of an investigation that was allowed to continue under Merrick Garland to waste U.S. tax dollars, the guy found nothing. Do you remember how many people were touting the Durham investigation? The Durham investigation, zero, nada, zilch. You know what they should do is that they should have investigations in Congress, because the Republicans control these things.
Did anyone watching this laugh at one thing Sam or Emma said? Actually, let me broaden that. Has anyone watching this ever laughed at anything that either of them have said? To me, they are painfully unfunny, but they have a studio of dummies laughing at everything they say. I mean, I guess they're getting paid to be there, so that makes sense. In my humble opinion, these are two of the most unlikable people. Anyway, we want to hear from you. What do you think? Am I incorrect? Do you think the criminal cases against Donald Trump were justified, or some of them were justified, or a couple of them? Or do you think that they were all bogus and used as lawfare to go after a political opponent? Let us know. Anyway, that's it for this video. As always, we really appreciate you watching. We'll see you on the next one.